A special thanks to all those in collaboration with KPP in Art, World Outreach, and individuals within this ministry for your selfless and heroic efforts in this war against depression. As my goal has, is, and will always be to eliminate suicide. I dive right into this. So what are your questions? Disclosures. If you would like to post and you would like to be acknowledged in your post, you would acknowledge yourself or your name, the name in which you like me to acknowledge you by, followed by your question, comment, statement, and or concern. For example, acknowledge A.T. Kimble, how was your Thursday? So therefore, I will respond to that as, A.T. Kimble, my Thursday went well. And of course, those who wish to be made anonymous, you just simply post. You don't have to acknowledge yourself. By default, I do treat all posts anonymously. You guys seem to like these sorts of streams where all the attention is directed towards your comments in the community. You put so much faith in me, and I appreciate that. But keep in mind, this is just strictly my opinion. Everything that's been said here in response to your concerns or questions are just strictly my opinion. I just at least like to give you some feedback. If you want professional advice, or if you are looking for some resources or help, for that matter, you want to exit this stream and come back in and answer those very precise questions. There's 3 of them. They'll direct you to our advisory channel, where you'll get all the help and resources that you need. This channel is only meant to vent. We got some drama going on here. I look at this, this reminds me of Facebook. Whenever I log on to check the stats and the messages, because I have an author page on Facebook I check religiously, and then I also have a personal page that I connect with family. Men are different from women when it comes to catching up in one another's lives. Keep in mind, this is something that they feel. This isn't something that is proven. And they're getting stuff off their chest, but people take it seriously. Yeah, life is serious. Life is serious business. Rachel 249. I take it very, very seriously. But there are times when you can rest assured. Let your hair down. Drink your beer. Sit back on your front porch or back lawn. We have curfew here. Someone's talking about curfew. Curfew here, it's from 9 to 5 in the morning. You're not able to go out and venture the streets. We're following, because we're in the military, it does not mean we're exempt. Any New Year's revolutionaries out there that are still going strong? The gym has been packed. Last year, the revolutionaries, they maintained their goals or their New Year revolutions all the way up until mid-January, and I never saw as many people in the gyms. It's like they gave up pretty early. I think you have to set your goals. You have to set them to where they're achievable. Work out 30 minutes. Go to the gym and do 30 minutes. Some people do 15. And that's okay. Even if you go to the gym and you do 2 minutes, you're still acting towards your goal. It leaves room for improvement. Most people, well, me personally, I'm not going to talk about most people. Me personally, I'd say, 15 minutes. There's not much I can do at the gym except run. There's pull-ups at your local park using the pull-up bar. or go to the Beaver Fit and just literally work the shit out of your body on all the different stations at the Beaver Fit. That stuff, I think, it's better, especially when you are in a new area or new surrounding, new atmosphere. Going from North Carolina to Fort Bragg, which is a huge difference in elevation. Here's Survivor Anthem, if you haven't heard it yet. You've come a mighty long way. No point in giving up now. The fight isn't over. We're survivors. We can get through this. We can do more. We can do all things through Christ, which strengthens us. Even when you just don't feel like there is no way. But understand that with God, there's always a way. This isn't the end. We're celebrating life and victory. Time, our time, for hope, prosperity, for wisdom, for growth, that you can do more things than what you're doing right now. It's going to be okay. There is always a way. These times aren't meant to stay. They're meant to pass. There's no point in giving up when you've come so far. You got a lot of people rooting for you. Never stop chasing your dreams. To believe and be strong. And know that you'll get there. It just takes time. You gotta let me know the secret goes. And I can remember my days being so simple, so laid back, empty. There was nothing that I had going on that required a lot of my focus or energy. I think back to just how much time I've wasted. It just astonishes me, because I could have been doing this a long time ago. And it's not hard. I don't feel it frustrates me. At times drawing does. At times when I'm sitting down to illustrate something, because I'm trying to picture just what it is that I'm looking at within inside my mind. I have to feel a certain way or go through something that inspires my next piece. Come to think about it, I know a lot of people who only are able to act on their ideas involving their craft. If they are facing those challenges, if they're in the midst of a trial. I was taking a drag off my cigarette when I seen that post popped up. This is from Mike. The G Team Paranormal, Patty. I just started off in this ministry of raising awareness. I ran across her on a whim, actually. I didn't know about her son Gary, who actually committed suicide, hung himself. Until after I started watching her for about, I think, a month or two after that. And the videos that she put out, it's a traditional response to tragedy. When someone has gone through something, as tragic as losing a child to suicide, she found a way to turn that into a positive by investing her time in uncovering the paranormal, the world beyond. His spirit not hunts her, but his spirit remains attached and communicates with her. That's really what got her involved. Some other channels I frequent, particular YouTuber. I've been with John Wolfe for a while, previously known as Harshly Critical. Been with him since he started about almost 8 years ago. He's tech savvy when it comes to puzzle games and breeze through it, make it look so easy. Dan Bell, or This is Dan Bell. I used to watch him a lot. His Dead Mall series. MrKravin. What drew me to him was he goes through a game and he gives what I feel like authentic responses. Then those who give these simulated and, like I said, often exaggerated responses, because it's like, I don't think it was that serious. I mean, are you legitimately scared? Or are you just shouting and wailing in front of the camera in video games? And MrKravin he gives that. Not only that, but he points out the flaws, things that the developer can revise, can make better, and sending the developer a note. Now, I don't know if a lot of game players or less players, whatever you want to call them, are actually doing that after the fact, after playing the game, but a lot of them do not make that clear. CJUGames, I've watched some of his stuff. He's very wise. I like the way he thinks when he's playing a game. He puts himself in the mind of the character in which he's playing. He portrays it so well. There are times I feel he can be a bit more brave in his walkthroughs. So this is going to be, and I've never done this before. Hopefully it doesn't work against me, but this is going to be the first part of a 2-part live stream. First part of this live stream will be done today, and it will pick this back up tomorrow. I listen to a lot of these live streams, especially those I've done way back when, and during times where I need that inspiration, I just tune in and listen to myself. Songs that I've written and published onto my channel. The mind is so powerful. It's a reason why people who are living healthy and happy lives, they live longer. They aren't as sick as often. And people who are depressed, people who don't live that healthy and happy and prosperous life, they don't have something to look forward to keep them happy, to keep them content in life. They tend to live shorter lives if they don't take themselves out first. That's just the state of mind that they're in. When you are operating in that kind of atmosphere, in that kind of spirit,
anyone who can hear this, I, along with several other survivors, have built a bunker just outside the city. We have an abundance of resources. There's food, water, and medicine. A safe haven buried deep underground. A group of us are armed and are prepared for an extraction. We also have eyes in the sky, searching the city for signs of life. It's been so long since my first recording, but I never lost hope. Somehow I feel that there's life somewhere out there. Survivors searching for sanctuary. You may find this difficult to believe, but rest assured, there's hope. Help is on the way.
So this has been like a month and a half ago. I had these kids, and I stay in an apartment complex where I'm surrounded by a bunch of other people. I don't know where they come from. I don't know what apartment complex they stay in. Every day, like around 3, they would come out and scream and shout, and like kids would do, just play outside and just have themselves a little ball. But I guess one of the group leaders, if I can call them that, these bad fuckers, one of the group leader decided, hey, let's go and knock on his door and run. My door, and when it first happened, I was like, oh God, these kids, they're just so silly. Okay. They went on with it for so long that I got tired, and I opened my door and I said, stop, quit it, cut it out. The next day, it was the same thing, if not even longer and more vicious knocks. And so I dealt with it for as long as I possibly could. I even tried to tell their parents. I even went out there to try and explain to these kids, you can't go knocking on people's door. You never know who it is on the other side. It's almost like Kimble gets pushed aside and something else takes control and says, I'll take over from here since you're too much of a pussy to do something about this. What I did was, because I got so damn tired of these kids, it's harassing me. I got some petroleum jelly, threw it in a skillet, and cooked it down to a liquid. And I poured that on the steps. I tried to smear it out as much as I can to kind of make it blend in. Listening to the kids running up to knock on the door, but immediately you hear their flesh hitting the concrete. And after that, you can imagine what kind of horrible scream would emerge from their tiny bodies. The thought in my mind was, Kimble, that was just too harsh. You should not have done that. That's horrible. You could have killed these kids putting this, smearing this on your steps. But then I quickly came to realize, it's like, no, because there's a lesson that has to be learned here. If you continue to harass people, you may got some scars, bruises, but you're leaving with your sanity and your life. People will shoot you in the face. This is 2021. This is not 1943. We're not in the old Western days where people would be polite, courteous, respectful, all the way up into execution. We're living in days where people don't give a shit about you, where you come from, or your reason for being here. People are just that sinister to kidnap your kids and do some horrific things to them before brutally butchering them up, putting them in little sandwich bags. I felt that if the lesson was to be learned the hard way, I'd rather for that lesson to come from me. At least have some ounce of humanity within him. Things have changed. It's not safe anymore. You can't expect people to have this sort of courtesy when it comes to helping you manage your family. I can only hope that it helped them understand simply. And if it didn't, then I have more I can definitely pour out there. I can continue to give them those lessons until they figure it out. Every single time we walk up there, I mean, I don't know how many times it'll take them to realize, hey, look, we might need to stop. We've been getting hurt. Enough about that. So I have a video I want you guys to watch here. Here's Season Pass.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome.
We're letting the universe know that tonight is our night. Tonight,
If you are interested in telling your story to motivate people, you're the type of person where you like to do stuff like this, host a Let's Talk Suicide live stream, you can log on to atkimble.com and submit your request. We'll give you a date that hopefully works. If not, then we can definitely negotiate a better time for you to host. But we'd love to have you. We love to have those who are willing to tell their story. There's a great deal of a peace that falls over you when you really sit down to talk about what moved you to venture this way in life. I was in the middle of putting together a presentation, speaking points for an upcoming live stream when my past fell into place and settled in my mind. Uninvited, came on a whim. I remember hearing this voice that called out to me and said, "You don't have to defend me to no one." That was what stood out most to me. It was at that point that I started redrafting my notes, the story, unfolded as if cracking open a book and blowing out the dust. If I didn't mention anything about my suicide attempt at all, this I had to address. A lot of us, we like to think of ourselves as God's right hand, his judgment. Tell people this is who God is, what God wants from us. Act on his behalf. It's a full-time job to hold yourself accountable, yet alone to go out and try to hold everyone else accountable. Take charge of your own destiny, your own life. God is big enough to defend himself. Up next, we got MLK, The Sun Will Shine.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. Maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read. So just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I just want to do God's will. And he's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know the name.
Use your craft as your voice. Make an impact. Change the world.